Horizon Gents from Lucy Reaction, and this is Absolute Madness KillDozer by the channel Count Dankula. Yeah, KillDozer. I reacted to about KillDozer from Quickseer channel. Yeah. In that, I'll learn about his story, and that was just fucking ridiculous. First of all, this guy who built a fucking tank type of thing from a bulldozer. The level of skill required for that is just ridiculous. You only hear things like that from movies and I guess TV shows, but apparently there you go, that happened in real life. And he was screwed over so badly. Like somebody basically built a factory near his land, near his shop, a muffler shop or something like that, and that cut off his access way to the basically town. There was the road there from which he accessed his land. First of all, I don't understand that. When you purchase a land, you also purchase access to a road. I mean, what's the point of the land otherwise, right? I mean, there has to be some kind of a public road connecting to it. That's, I guess, council's job. How can you cut off somebody's land's access? How is he supposed to access his land? What, go through somebody else's land? Fly in? I mean, isn't there some law about this? How does that even work? How did the basically town council or whatever agree to that? Screw it. He doesn't need road. He's gonna fly there. He's a Superman or something like that. Just build a factory there. How does that even work? How is that legal? And he petitioned. He basically got rejected, so he got pissed off and tried to kill everybody or something, or made an example or something. But couldn't he just go to some kind of a high court or Supreme Court even? To just to say that this is bullshit, this is literal common sense. How could you just build something where my road is? How am I supposed to go there? Even though he was right to be pissed off, I don't like what he did, because regardless of what happens, this is never a way to do things, because in the end he lost his life. I mean, this is never good. I mean, obviously he was somewhat alone. He didn't have family, so I'm just guessing here something bad happened in his life before he came here and created his shop and everything. So he was kind of at the edge. This is all speculation by me, because he was alone. He didn't have family or something like that. So he might have been at the edge, and then this happened, so might have pushed him over the edge or something like that. But yeah, he still shouldn't have done this. He should have pursued something else, because this ended up with him being dead. And that's, anytime if you tell a story like this and don't tell somebody an ending, 90% of the time somebody can just guess the ending. The person dies. So this is never good. But yeah, Quickseer was a short clip. Count Dankula is apparently great channel. I reacted to about the White Death, about the sniper yesterday. This is a good channel, so I guess he's gonna go into more detail, because I'm pretty sure there has to be some more details than there was in the Quickseer video. There is still some detail that is missing, I think, but we'll see. Remember, people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the reaction I did. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast wall playlist. Check out the end cards. And if you like my reaction to this channel, I guess comment down which other videos you want me to react to from this channel or any other channel. And yeah, let's watch this one.
You're going to know how intent I was on teaching you people that what you're doing is wrong.
He made a
And
recording?
maybe that's all that needs to be done to stop you from the greed you have, the hate you have, the anger, malice to outsiders. I think God will bless me to get the machine done, to drive it, to do the stuff that I have to do. I am the co-captain of my life. God is first, I am second. Okay? This is where He's taken me. You have tried to control my life. You have tried to be the captain of my life. You do not run my life. You do not determine my income. You do not determine what I desire, what I want, what I deserve. I determine that, and my God determines that, not you people. So I'm trying to be as prepared as I can be to do what I believe needs to be done.
Marvin Heemeyer was your average everyday
That is one of the greatest intro you can have, so that's a mad respect for this guy. That was just epic. He made a recording, I didn't know that. That was so good. Look, man, first of all, he thought he was getting persecuted because he's an outsider, and obviously he was an outsider. He was new to the town, so that could have been a thing. Obviously, maybe somebody made some comment, some council made some comment like that. Who the hell knows? But you know, I'm all for religion and everything, but whenever a guy talks like I'm a co-pilot, my main pilot is God, and God will lead me to things. I feel like at that type of thing, people stop thinking about rational things lots of time where they should, and they just rely on God, like God will steer them. And I don't care how religious you are, I mean, that is never a way to go things. Lots of time I hear like, I'll leave everything in God's hand. When there is something that's not in your hand or in anybody's hand, you say that, understand that. But when it's something you could think rationally, but you just say that it's everything in God's hand, I'm not going to do anything or think anything, that scares me. But clearly the guy was pushed over the edge here, so he said all those things and he was like that. But yeah, it's just sad what happened to him, man. This is just that he was kind of pissed in that recording, and that's just ridiculous. Did Count Dankula, this guy added that starting of the engine noise, or was that part of the original recording? Because that would be ridiculous.
American living in Granby, Colorado. He worked hard as a welder in his muffler repair shop so that he could put food on the table and live a good life. His friends all described him as a very likeable person, and his own brother said that he was the type of guy who would bend over backwards to help people out. In 1992, Marvin purchased 2 acres of land for $42,000 so that he could build his muffler shop, which he did. He was then approached by the Dochev family, who wanted to buy his land from him so that they could build a concrete plant, and they offered him $250,000 for the land. Heemeyer went back and forth with the Dochev family, and Heemeyer kept increasing the price to try and see if he could get more money, until eventually the deal completely fell through, so the Dochevs sought to have the land around Marvin's muffler shop.
Okay, Dochev family or whatever he's saying. First of all, clearly they're a rich guy because they are called Dochev family or something like that, not one guy. They're a rich family. Obviously they're creating a damn factory there, cement factory or whatever. So they approached him for his land. I didn't know that. Now that kind of changes things. Like maybe these people tried to purchase his land. He wouldn't budge. So just out of spite, they paid off the councilman or everything to deliberately screw him over. I mean, this detail wasn't in Quicksilver video, I think. Or maybe I missed it. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't there. So this feels like... First of all, in the Quicksilver video, I thought this is just basically, incompetence from councilmen and everybody, from the townspeople, town councilmen, whatever they're called. But now it feels like this is deliberate. They deliberately try to screw him over.
Rezoned so that they could build their concrete plant. Marvin was included in the rezoning discussion at the very start of the process so that he could make sure his interests were protected. But regardless of anything that Marvin said, the rezoning application was granted anyway. What Marvin didn't know is that the piece of land that got chosen to build the concrete plant was a piece of land just adjacent to his muffler shop that he and his customers actually used to access the shop. Marvin petitioned to the zoning commission again so that the concrete plant couldn't be built there. However, despite several petitions, all of them were rejected, and construction of the concrete plant went ahead anyway, essentially blocking off access to Marvin's shop. Marvin then decided that he would use another bit of land next to his shop to build a road so that people could actually access his shop. So he went about buying all the materials that he would need, such as asphalt, concrete, shovels, tools, materials, and a bulldozer. Once Marvin had got all the materials that he needed to construct the road, he then petitioned...
Yeah, he bought bulldozers for building the road. I mean... Even at that point, he was being reasonable. Like, screw it. I am being screwed. People are not listening to me. Fine, I'll build a road elsewhere. I need a damn road. How are people going to access? How am I going to access my own land? I mean, this is just stupid.
To the city for permission to build the road so that people could actually access his shop. The city refused his request, meaning there was no easy way for customers or even himself to access his shop. So his business was now at risk. To make matters even worse, Marvin's water and sewer lines were actually running under the piece of land that the concrete plant was being built on. So during construction of the concrete plant, Marvin's sewer lines and water lines were cut off. So his muffler shop didn't have any running water or sewage connection for months. Marvin was then fined $2,500 for not being connected to the sewer line, even though it wasn't
That's
his
just deliberate.
fault. Marvin then tried to fix this by petitioning to have his old sewer line connected again.
That is just deliberate. I mean, finding somebody to not have sewage line and water line when your decision is the one who cut off the lines. I mean, that the factory cut off the lines. I mean, this is just stupid. I mean, what if you got fined right now for not having, sewage line, water line connection when your own, basically your own town council or whatever work is being done somewhere and it literally cuts off your access to it. I mean, this is just stupid. I mean, we have here, our municipal corporation, if they come out and cut off a line somewhere a few houses ahead where the main line is, and then they fine me, I'm never paying that shit. You cut off the line. How is this my fault? So this is just, that was deliberate. They were trying to screw with him.
Because it was still there under the ground. The only problem was it was under the ground on the concrete plant's property, and they refused to give Marvin permission to connect his own sewer line. Despite all of Marvin's activism, the signatures he collected, the letters that he wrote, the meetings he attended, all the government bodies that he contacted, the council, the zoning commission, and the concrete plant all just stopped listening to him and replying to him completely and just abandoned him to his unfair fate. Marvin felt the entire world was against him, and it would really seem so because some of the stuff that happened to him was so extreme that a lot of people to this day still believe that there was a lot of shady dealings going on between the concrete plant and the city council, and Marvin even seemed to believe this himself. So Marvin decided to start working on a new project. He took the old bulldozer that he bought to build that road, he gathered up all of his welding skills, and he got to work. His plan was to turn the bulldozer into an unstoppable and impenetrable fortress with all of the bells and whistles. Some serious planning went into this contraption. The bulldozer model was a Komatsu D355A, and what Marvin set out to do first was create an armour sarcophagus that would cover the cabin, the engine, and part of the tracks. This was made out of composite armour that was made by pouring concrete in between thick metal plates, and in some places this armour was 12 inches thick. So that Marvin could actually see where he was going, he mounted several cameras on the outside of the armour, and each of these cameras was protected with 3 inches of bulletproof plastic, and all of the cameras were rigged up to 2 monitors that Marvin had installed in the dashboard of the bulldozer. Marvin even thought so far ahead as to install compressed air nozzles next to the cameras so that they could blow away any dust and debris that would fall onto the cameras to make sure his vision was never blocked. Marvin even installed onboard fans and an air conditioner to make sure that the cabin would stay nice and cool. He also installed 3 gun ports.
Stupid.
One of them was for
I mean, this is just stupid. The level of engineering he did here. That's just... He just opened a muffler shop. He should have opened a more complex and better shop than that. Just muffler shop, because he's clearly capable. Who the fuck else can do this? Just take a bulldozer... if somebody just mounted some, basically plates like that, maybe that's simple. But he didn't just mounted some plates. He did all these cameras, compressed air, so, he can still see, bulletproof plastics, air conditions. This is just ridiculous, man.
50 cal rifle, another was for a 308 semi-automatic rifle, and the other one was for a 22 LR rifle, and each of these gun ports was protected by 1.5 inch thick steel plates. Marvin documented the construction of the bulldozer by making audio recordings throughout the entire process. The way Marvin had constructed the armour sarcophagus was so that it could be lowered down onto the bulldozer by a crane that he had also built himself inside his shop, but he constructed it in such a way that once the sarcophagus was placed over the bulldozer and the crane was disengaged, that was it. There was absolutely no way for Marvin to get out, but it also meant there was no way for anybody else to get in.
But that's just grim right there, man. That means that he never in any scenario thought that he's gonna come out of that. I mean, just the mentality behind that. Damn, I can't process that.
Took him around a year and a half to build it, but it was never noticed and Marvin never got caught, despite the fact that people had actually visited his shop and seen the machine and all the materials that he was using to build it. Marvin apparently believed that God clouded their judgment to protect him. Marvin during this period was still trying to get the council and other people to listen to him, but none of them would. And 2004 was shaping up to be an awful year for Marvin. His business was in ruins, so he sold his land to a trash company and he was given 6 months to vacate. His father passed away, and he broke off his engagement because he caught his woman banging another man. Marvin had quite simply had enough. And so, on the 4th of June
There you go.
2004, Marvin wrote down a list of names of all of the people in the town who had wronged him. He hopped in his bulldozer, lowered the sarcophagus, disengaged the crane, and fired up the engine. Showtime. And so began the KillDozer rampage. Marvin just smashed through the wall of his own shop to get outside, and then started driving around Granby, destroying the businesses and properties of everyone who had ever wronged him. The main places he destroyed were the concrete plant, obviously, the town hall, a utility centre, the offices of a newspaper that had lied about him, I can relate, the home of a former mayor's widow, and a hardware store, as well as several other properties that belonged to people that had been against him. To cause further damage, Marvin also used the guns that he had installed in the KillDozer
Former mayor's widow? What's the point in that?
to shoot at propane tanks and electrical transformers. During the rampage, Cody Dochev of the Dochev family that owned the concrete plant tried to face Marvin head on in a tractor scraper, but Marvin and his KillDozer just simply pushed him out the way.
I have to listen to that sentence one more time.
Marvin also used the guns that he had installed. During the rampage, Cody Dochev of the Dochev family that owned the concrete plant tried to face Marvin head on in a tractor scraper, but Marvin and his KillDozer...
Oh my god. So basically he's like, oh, I had enough. I'm gonna do this myself. He just... This is literally like movies, like, oh, that's it. You're all useless. All you cops and everybody, all of you are useless. I'm gonna do this by myself. It just got on the machine and tried to go head to head with it. This is just ridiculous.
just simply pushed him out the way. Naturally, the cops turned up and they were completely armed to the teeth and they were just opening fire on the KillDozer. But the KillDozer was completely impervious to small arms fire, so the cops' guns did absolutely nothing. A SWAT team followed closely behind the KillDozer, firing at anything that they thought could possibly be an opening to the inside. At one point, they even managed to throw a flashbang grenade down the exhaust port of the KillDozer, but this had absolutely no effect. Undersheriff Glenn Traynor even managed to climb on top of the KillDozer while it was moving to try and find an opening.
Maybe smoke grenade would have done something. Flashbang, I mean, if it gets hit, then it gets hit. If it doesn't, that doesn't work. Smoke grenade might have just, filled up the insides with enough smoke that he would have passed out or something. I don't know.
So that he could fire a bullet inside, but he ended up having to jump off for his own safety because he was at risk of being hit with rubble and debris. The situation was looking pretty bleak. Nothing the cops did could slow this thing down. So Governor Bill Owens actually considered contacting the National Guard to get them to fly in with an Apache helicopter to take out the KillDozer with Hellfire missiles, or at the very least, take it out with a Javelin anti-tank missile. These plans were abandoned because it was decided that using military-grade heavy weaponry in a small Colorado town was probably bad optics. However, it all...
Listen to that. Hellfire missiles and Javelin. Are you kidding me? You can't use that. I mean, imagine the level of political backlash you would receive. Like, doesn't matter what. You just use Javelins and basically Hellfire missiles here. Damn.
Came to an end. When Marvin was destroying a hardware store, the tracks on one side of the KillDozer actually broke through the floor into the basement, and the KillDozer got stuck. The radiator was also heavily damaged and leaking fluid, and the whole machine was starting to break down. So Marvin was stuck, and the SWAT team surrounded the KillDozer. The SWAT team then said that they heard a single gunshot coming from inside the KillDozer, because Marvin, realising that he was stuck and that there was no way out, reached for a handgun that he had with him inside the KillDozer and took the easy way out. So it finally came to an end after Marvin and his KillDozer caused $7 million worth of damage. The cops tried to get inside the KillDozer using explosives, but after the third failed attempt, they decided to finally cut through using an oxyacetylene torch, and eventually, after many, many hours, they managed to get inside the KillDozer and retrieve Marvin's body. In 2005, the town council announced that it was going to scrap the KillDozer, but all of the parts were going to be sent to various scrapyards all the way around the US to prevent people from stealing them as souvenirs. After the rampage, a lot of people vilified Marvin and branded him as a lunatic, but other people ended up revering him, saying that he was a man that fought back against the state who had completely screwed him over, because despite the extent of the KillDozer rampage, no one died. Now, whether it's a case of Marvin was going out of his way to make sure he didn't kill anyone, or if it was just blind luck that no one get killed, who knows?
I don't think he was trying to kill anyone, because he just targeted the people that wronged him. If he was just went ballistic and didn't care, he would have destroyed all the town. But he only destroyed the places that belong to the people who offended him. And, nobody died. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, you could argue that it's a fucking tank of a bulldozer. Anybody could see it coming and get out of the way, sure. But he had guns and things. If he wanted to kill somebody, somebody would have died. I don't think he was trying to kill anybody.
But this just goes to show that anyone, even someone like Marvin, has a breaking point. And it seemed that the government found out the hard way what happens when you mess with someone too much.
Ah, they didn't. Okay.
It's Count Dankula on YouTube. Everybody should subscribe.
I like that ad. Huh. Just use bulldozer. Alright. Yeah, I don't think nobody found out the hard way, because I think, this was just a failed attempt. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. The council doesn't care. The council didn't learn anything. They are going to do what they are going to do anyway. The properties got damaged. Those are, going to be paid by public funds or something. I mean, no councilman is going to pay from their pocket. They're still going to take money from the rich families and screw over people like that. Nobody learned anything. The guy died. So, people who vilifies him like he's just a madman, he's stupid, he's crazy, did that. I don't agree with that. I mean, the people basically pushed him over the edge. When you do that shit like that, I don't know. I would get pissed off too. I would go to some councilman, punch him in the face too if he screws over me like this. But what he did here was a bit too much. I mean, clearly he wasn't thinking clearly at the time. All the shit was happening with his life. But what he did was wrong, obviously, because nothing's going to change. And he died. That's what happened. So he just lost his life there. So, yeah, I mean, all the, thing that was happening around in his life basically pushed him over the edge like this. So it's sad to see something like this, and especially where everybody says that he was a nice guy and something happening like this to him, when we know that he was screwed over like that from the city council. How could you cut off somebody from accessing his own land? There must be a law to prevent that. I mean, I think you should have gone through the courts. Eventually, Supreme Court or something, they would have done something. I don't know. I mean, how is this? I mean, sometimes in democracy, common sense wins regardless of what. So how is he supposed to access his land? Fly there or something? I mean, he needs an access to public road. So yeah. Alright, people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the reaction. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast world. Check out the end cards, and I guess I'll see you next time.